professional tag.
So I am still working with a little bit of a slightly, well, a little bit of a slight disadvantage here, trying to learn all of this stuff at once. But I will switch the scene. You'll get to see what's going on my computer for a split second. Hopefully that's enjoyable to you. And let's go to in-game. Here we go. So this is game one. Hopefully I've clicked the right one. Yes, I have. We have a Hun's War between Vivi, who's going to be in red, and Yinghua in blue. Excuse me. So, we will expect some scout shenanigans potentially, since this is a competitive game, but for now, I suppose we can introduce the maps. We've got berries here on the back for Yinghua, coming in at 22-27 rated, very strong player. And let's see. So berries on the back, main stone to the side, main gold in the front. Quite a bit of structure here if Yinghua wants to close in some of those angles of attack. On the other side, we have Vivi in red. Vivi's got berries on the back, gold on the back, and stone on the back. Interestingly, that is going to be something that I think Vivi can probably defend really well with just a little bit of walling on the corners here, and then pushing some aggression toward the TC. So I think Vivi probably has a very good map here, and we'll see how Vivi plays it. So, if we look from Fog of War, we can see neither player has gone forward yet for some scout shenanigans. Still looking around for sheep. And I suppose we'll expect a pretty normal Dark Age for the two Huns players. SMB, are you there? Did we make it across the bridge together?
We did indeed. I'm actually just looking at Vivi's boars. They are absolutely ripe for stealing because the players aren't terribly far apart. It's very open between the two of them. And both of the boars for Vivi are kind of presented, always being presented to Love Cheng, saying like, just steal me. Initially, when I saw the map, I was looking at the area, especially around the front of Vivi's base, and thinking that this is insanely open. But you are correct in that, like funneling some of the aggression towards the TC, and he can do 2 tiles of war to the north of the Oasis and in the north, and then 4 tiles in the south, and well, maybe 5 tiles in then just wall across the front, and he'll be pretty much safe with safe gold and stone in the back. So a better map than it looked on first sight, actually, for me. But
great
I
catch
feel
on
like
the
we're going to see.
great catch on the boars being together there. But go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I was going to say I feel like both players, even though Vivi's map is potentially kind of closable, both players will opt for the scouts on this kind of map. Don't think we'll be seeing a drush, to be honest. And 3 on wood from both players would suggest that.
Absolutely. Both players with 3 on wood, going through a normal Dark Age that would be leading toward a scout rush. You can see that Vivi is pushing some deer in from the back. A little bit of a food bonus, 140 food per deer. That's going to be a nice little bonus. If we do turn on Fog of War, obviously Vivi isn't going forward scouting because Vivi is pushing deer. I keep wanting to say she for Vivi because of that troll on Vivi's profile. He will be pushing deer, but we will see Yinghua coming forward first, potentially going to find Vivi here and maybe do some shenanigans. Unfortunately, it looks like this boar will be back at the TC for Vivi before Yinghua gets there. Yep, absolutely.
It seems like you might want to increase your microphone volume just a little bit. I doubt it's massively out, but there is one person saying that in the chat. If you want, you can pause the game and throw up the scene whilst you do whatever you need to do to affect that.
Okay, let's do that. Thank you for that comment in the chat. Sorry about these things. We'll pop to out of game. I will increase by 10%. Let's actually hold on here for a second. Is this crazy loud now, or am I still pretty good volume-wise? Sounds okay to me, says Voobly Official. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for that comment, and let's continue the game. So I'll flick back to in-game. We'll go to the game itself, and sorry for the slight delay. Hopefully my sound is proper now. We do see Yinghua getting some sheep here, and those are Yinghua's sheep, so that is just fine. No shenanigans yet. Still not going terribly forward as you look at Fog of War from both players. They have only really covered their side of the map. Maybe they're both thinking a little defensively here. I suppose we will wait and see.
I think in Vivi's case, those deer were just too good to pass up because he doesn't even have to push them as far as the TC can just push them from the mill, um, and get those in pretty quickly and still reach Yinghua's base, assuming he goes quite quickly to get the scouting information well in advance of the feudal age being hit. So I think he's more happy to see those eminently pushable deer than anything.
Yeah, very good point. Those deer are in a nice location. When the game presents you with resources, you should take them. That is a good strategy. There you go. You heard it here first. Killer B letting you know how to win at AOC. Uh, yeah, so hopefully the stream's coming through good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Saturday or Sunday, I suppose, depending on your time zone. Yeah, and I'm here with my inaugural cast, being helped out by SMB, and yeah, we'll continue to work our way through these games. We can see Loom coming for both players. Current populations are 21 villagers, and both clicking up to feudal age. So a very normal build, especially one that we would see very commonly for scouts. No villagers on gold for Vivi, no villagers on gold for Yinghua. So we'll expect to see some scouts. You can see Vivi taking some arrow fire there. Not ideal, but at least Vivi has now found the area of Yinghua. Yinghua, on the other hand, is also finding Vivi, scouting out Vivi's large gold patch. Actually going to find this villager on food. Going to find the berries as well. So both players will have a pretty good idea of what the other is working with. Some palisades coming up across the front here for Vivi. Probably going to try to push any action toward that TC. Closing in the left flank as well. So Vivi, I think, is going to be sitting pretty in this game, especially against potential scouts. I think by the time they're out, Vivi will be in good shape. There goes the stable from Vivi. Here comes the stable from Yinghua. On Yinghua's side, we're seeing some structure as well. A couple palisades off to block off at least one flank. Yinghua could also palisade here if he wants, but he would have to go to multiple spots here to add palisades to close his side in. Maybe for now, that's going to be left open. And we're seeing spears coming out, and actually Yinghua's spear going forward right away. Interesting thing to watch. Yeah, so I feel like I'm hogging the all the mic time here. SMB, what do you think about this game? Whose map would you rather have?
I would definitely rather have Vivi's in this case, just because of the main goal positioning. I mean, Love Cheng is probably sending that spearman out straight away, because he wants to just go forward and try and apply some pressure in combination with the scouts that he's going to be coming out, because he doesn't want the fight to be taking place in his map, because he can't really take gold from any very good locations if he ends up with a lot of pressure coming in on his map. So he'll be looking to seize the initiative, but could have a hard time because he can't really hit anything on Vivi's map by the time these palisades go up.
Look at this, SMB.
However,
we're seeing, wow, Yinghua is in. Vivi deciding to build those palisades 100% each block, and that did not give Vivi time to finish the end of the wall. Yeah, Vivi's gonna be just fine pushing this away. He's got the scout advantage. He will take that spear down with the villagers. But did lose some time there. I mean, it's always good to be efficient. If he had come and put a couple of hammers down on each piece of the wall, I think Vivi would have been totally fine. So lost a little time, but Vivi's still closing in the map and still looking good. The scouts from Yinghua are still in the stable, at least 2 of them are. 3 are forward, so we are 5v5 scouts. Interestingly, Yinghua is sending only 3 of those forward at the moment, and we're seeing the other 2 lagging behind and hanging in the stable. Vivi is closing even more here, and it looks like it's going to be enough to deter Yinghua from trying to go in. I think that's probably a good call. Would have taken quite a lot of arrow fire there. Vivi with the scout advantage, and I wonder if Yinghua will be totally pushed back here. It looks like he will. Totally outnumbered. And Vivi using that map advantage. On the other side, we're seeing Yinghua closing in really everything with palisades, and this is starting to look like a really nice map for Yinghua. So potentially getting those scouts and that spear out early was just a diversion to keep Vivi busy until he could close his side in. One thing that isn't closed in is this front gold. 2 villagers will be there trying to take it. They will be guarded by 2 spears. That should be enough for now to push Vivi away from that area, but we'll keep an eye on that gold. I think that's going to be a place where Vivi can do some damage in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, the difference in the maps is meant that Lubcheng has now produced a total of 3 spearmen at this point to just try and keep. Well, actually, this is his 4th spear coming out because he's obviously feeling so vulnerable with that exposed forward gold. Whereas Vivi has managed to not produce a spearman at this point, which trying to, if you can get away without adding in any spears, then especially if your opponent's adding as many as 4, then that adds up to quite a difference in resource spending. We can see the earlier wheelbarrow coming in for Vivi, which may be somewhat facilitated by not having to make all those spears to protect the gold.
Oh man, this is awesome having you here. You're Johnny on the spot. Absolutely great points there. We did see archery ranges coming up here for Vivi and 5 villagers on gold. On the other side, we're seeing Yinghua with an archery range coming as well, now with 5 villagers on gold, and those spears are doing a great job pushing Vivi away. So for the moment, I'd say neither player has really a major advantage. Both players have played their map as well as they could through the early Dark Age and Feudal Age. Second range coming for Vivi. If we look from Vivi's point of view, we can see that there are archers queued up there. So we're going to see archers from Vivi here. Not terribly uncommon to go scouts and transition to archers. I wonder what we'll see from Yinghua. Probably the same. Yes, we can see archers queued as well. Meanwhile, Yinghua on the front is going to harass this stable just slightly, probably to be annoying, but to bury the lead here, we have Vivi in on Yinghua's wood line, not going to get a villager, but is going to push those villagers away from wood, also pushing some farmers away, and this is going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on from Vivi.
Yeah, I feel like Vivi is actually in a pretty good position here, an advantageous one, because he was just a tiny little bit earlier on the archery range transition, as well as getting that wheelbarrow in earlier that I don't think Yinghua has done. But also, this is really good idle time. You know, when you're looking to produce archers from 2 ranges, also think about potentially putting a blacksmith down if you're going to be committing to any kind of feudal war. Then idling 2 wood lines in quick succession, really important. But Lubcheng being a little bit greedy here with the fairly early Castle Age click up, but I guess that is a product of the fact that Vivi just hasn't been applying as much pressure to that forward gold as you perhaps might have hoped. But as we see 2 scouts going down for Vivi there inside his own base, the spear catching up to them. The full wall off as well from Vivi may be leading Yinghua to just think that he also might be a little bit greedy. We see that both players actually ticking up to the Castle Age at more or less similar times.
Yep, so we will be battling this out in Castle Age. Obviously no major blows landed by either player. Vivi on 37, Yinghua on 36. That's due to the difference in Castle Age click-up time. It looks like Vivi's scouts that were in are now no longer interesting. There are going to be 0 of them left in just a moment. There goes the last one. Vivi didn't get his money's worth with those scouts. I mean, he did idle a little, but man, it hurts to be trapped in the back and really lose those for free. You never want to give away your resources for free. Meanwhile, we're seeing archers from both players. No upgrades on those archers yet. Probably fletching coming right now for both players at exactly the same moment. 3rd archery range for Vivi, 3 archery ranges for Yinghua. Vivi's going to take the long way around. He's going to take the long and winding road, possibly trying to attack from the side, maybe get through these palisades before Yinghua can react. Yinghua is on the front, but Vivi is still closed in, so I don't think these scouts are going to do a whole lot right now, but it's always good to have them rather than to have given them away. And look at all of the archers coming forward here from Yinghua. Quite a few archers with fletching now. He is going to attack these palisades, and he's going to have archers that can take down any villagers who are trying to fix those palisades. Vivi really with nothing much in the back area here to defend this military-wise. We look from Vivi's point of view, queued up a couple of archers, but that's going to do nothing against this many crossbows and scouts. Defensive tower coming for Vivi, may lose a villager in the process, possibly 2, and it looks like Yinghua is going to be through these palisades quite soon. There will be a tower here, but we'll have to see how Vivi tries to contain this. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're seeing still archers going up to crossbow is Vivi, trying to get in from the side and do some harassment. But right now, Vivi needs to stop the bleeding, and we'll have to see how Vivi goes about trying to do that.
Yeah, I think Vivi's kind of dropped the ball here, because I think he should, even if he takes that circuitous route around the map to kind of hide his archers whilst he preserves them ready to get the crossbow upgrade, he should have been moving in on that gold pretty much a few seconds after hitting the Castle Age, so as the crossbowman upgrade comes in. But he's taken such a circuitous route around north of the map, got waylaid by wolves on the way. I mean, he could have so easily denied this TC and taken out half a dozen vills on the gold. I think Yinghua has been kind of getting away with murder, leaving that exposed as he has done.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Vivi won't be there in time to deny that TC. 2 TCs for Yinghua and the villager count advantage. We should see that advantage continue to expand. Although, you know, you never know. There could be a little bit of idle time. But definitely we expect Yinghua to be pulling away in this match, especially if he can grab a few more villagers on this gold pile, which he certainly will do. It's amazing how 5 archers can really harass an entire segment of your economy if they're properly placed. And we're going to see villagers down there. There's a 3rd or 4th, a 5th is coming. There goes number 5. And look at the advantage now for Yinghua, +4 vills. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see Vivi with crossbows harassing that wood line, but unfortunately not having a whole lot of villagers to pick off. And he is going to be working against 2 TCs, which are actively building villagers. So Vivi has cleaned up his side. He looks like he has closed up his walls and will continue to double up those walls. Padded archer armor coming from Yinghua, and we're going to see cavalry archers, not too terribly surprising here, and a 3rd TC to have a safe wood line.
Yeah, they more or less took each other, like inflicted similar numbers of kills, and both of them stopped each other from gathering wood for the whole of that time. But the important thing is that Yinghua at this point had already dropped a 2nd town centre and still had the wood in the bank to drop a 3rd, so he's going to be able to recover from the losses of those villages much quickly in terms of kind of rebooming or starting to boom, whereas Vivi not gathering wood for that whole time and having a very inefficient looking wood line is not going to be able to drop TCs anytime soon, and I think we're going to see Yinghua really pulling away in the villager count very, very soon. And right now Vivi's army of crossbows are looking on the verge of death in the back of Yinghua's base.
Right, +2.
Going to leave him behind in the military count as well.
+2, +1 for both players. We're seeing those crossbows cleaned up in the back of Yinghua's area. Vivi with a nice little secondary group of archers, getting 5 or 6 villagers there on the front with gold, and actually Vivi pulling ahead by 1 villager. So Vivi, with the smaller army and looking in sort of desperate position, is doing a good job to pick off what villagers he can, and he gets 2 more there on the farms. So Vivi's making a game out of this. And we're going to see a university from Vivi, but not a 2nd TC. We will see 3 TCs from Yinghua, and we will expect Yinghua to catch up, at the moment down by 4 vills. Very interesting. Hiding those crossbows for a moment, going to come back in and attack this gold again, keeping pressure on Yinghua's gold, and we will search for another gold pile here. It looks like at the moment within those walls there is not a gold pile for Yinghua. So if Vivi can keep the pressure here, it might be an interesting game, but it is going to be hard to come up against this big batch of cavalry archers which are now bloodlined. Vivi's bloodlines are coming in and soon will be equal, but the military size seems to be all cav archers here for Yinghua, and Vivi seems to just have a few mixed in and mostly crossbows. So it seems advantage Yinghua to me. Obviously, I think that's probably how it seems to you, SMB.
I think so, but actually he's got to get really, really caught out on that hill to the south of his base if you're looking at that.
Beautiful.
I was going to say that Vivi did a very, very nice pick on the gold with taking down half a dozen villages at a pretty crucial time when Yinghua could have started to really motor through this game. But Vivi's running with the university and not dropping TCs because I think he probably favours aggression on a map like this because he can see those 2 forward golds for Yinghua. Doesn't see the 3rd one in the north of the map, but obviously he knows that Yinghua is coming out and choosing to take these ones instead, so he can definitely harass them. And having already seen those 3 town centres, because he had scouted them with his crossbows that went into the base, I think he realised if he kind of tried to macro it, he would already be behind, so he's going to take a more aggressive approach.
At least thus far, it's keeping Vivi in the match. I mean, certainly doing enough harassment to continue to have the villager advantage, +3 at the moment. You know, your opponent can have more TCs, but if you're taking villagers left and right, as Vivi has been doing at least so far, you can keep it close. Vivi needs to get in, though, and continue to harass, or else he's just going to get boomed out by Yinghua here fairly soon. Husbandry coming for Vivi. We do see bloodlines and +2/+2 on those cav archers, +2/+1 for Yinghua. So Vivi with a slight advantage in the upgrades, but look at this. Huge army of cav archers coming from Yinghua. much, much smaller army here from Vivi, and we're going to have to see how quick Vivi can retreat away from this. Looks like this is going to be fought straight up, and we're not seeing Vivi retreating here, and he's going to lose pretty much everything on that line. He's going to walk toward the corner, but he's going to be trapped there. Yinghua seems to be letting that small army off the hook, possibly because on the other side we have a patch of 6 cav archers from Vivi pushing their way in across the farmlands and that old wood line that has now been abandoned. So Vivi really in this game, really fighting. A game that I thought maybe was going to go downhill quickly, is still alive. These archers are going to go down pretty much for free. They are so outnumbered that they're not going to get a whole lot of damage in on Yinghua's cav archers. But Vivi is still in play, and I wonder if he can grab a few more villagers here on this wood line and continue to harass.
Yeah, with that army in the north, it was so trapped that it's often better to just do the damage to the opponent's army because you're not going to make it out alive anyway. You may as well pick up some kills. He's actually, even after losing all of those units, had the same military, so he's continuing to like outproduce Yinghua even as he loses a lot of units. And the idol that he was inflicting with his army is actually maintaining a sort of effective villager lead over Yinghua even at that moment, because with the villagers that were idle in the TC, even whilst being on one TC himself, he's actually kind of ahead if you subtract the idol. So doing a really great job with his raiding, as you've been saying.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, 22 idols there for a moment for Yinghua, although he has the 2 villager advantage. Obviously, 22 villagers not working is going to be a huge dent in his economy. We're seeing a forward siege workshop here from Vivi, going to try to keep the pressure on. If we look back home for Vivi, we're finally seeing another TC going down, but we'll have to see if the pressure can continue to be applied, obviously dedicating some resources toward building more villagers and building a second TC.
That is a really great fight for Vivi on the oasis in the middle of the map, or like the hill with the wood in the little pond, taking the hill advantage there, but also forcing Yinghua away from the second gold, which means that having to retreat all those villagers to his main goal where things are looking very, very inefficient. And that's going to hurt Yinghua's ability to continue massing and producing from all the ranges, so going to play into Vivi's aggressive intentions, and he's actually going to move in on the gold and get more picks potentially.
Yeah, and we're seeing battering rams coming from Vivi, so the pressure is going to continue to be applied. Vivi's running in with some cav archers here, coming up against his palisade, and is going to go straight in. And actually, it looks like Yinghua is not going to really react in time to get a whole lot of arrow fire on those cav archers. So they got through there pretty easily, considering how bad of a pinch point that is for Vivi to have to try to work across. Meanwhile, Yinghua is on the front. He did not get there in time to deny Vivi's front TC, and he will be coming back and dealing with the pressure in his own end. So Vivi doing a really great job using offense as defense here. Really hasn't been harassed much at all because Vivi's keeping the pedal to the metal, and sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Mining camp here on the side for Yinghua. That is a clandestine mining camp if I ever saw one. Those villagers are surely going to die if Vivi can find them. But for the moment, Vivi is caught in the back. He's going to be fighting with a hill advantage against a larger army from Yinghua, and we'll see how it goes. It looks like at the moment Vivi is not going to take that engagement. Now he's going to take it from the top of this hill, but it doesn't look too great for Vivi. Even though Yinghua is uphill, I believe he's got quite significant advantage in numbers here, and Vivi's little group forward there is going to be done. Vivi's in with another group. He's got battering rams. Unfortunately, Yinghua is going to be ready with some defensive rams there as well. Most certainly will target down these rams for Vivi and slow down their attack. Vivi on the hill again, taking a few of Yinghua's cav archers, but outnumbered, which is not ideal. More cav archers coming from Yinghua, and he's just going to play this very defensively for now and build up those bigger numbers, build up that bigger economy. As we can see, Vivi still has the villager advantage, so that harassment has been incredibly effective. Villagers here coming forward, where are they headed? At the moment, they are headed back, but 5 vills there for Vivi, potentially looking to do some more forward aggression.
I think in the last couple of minutes, Vivi has made a mistake with splitting his army a little bit too much. The splitting and the raiding was working so well for him, whilst Yinghua didn't really have a mass. But once the mass started to actually accumulate for Yinghua, he's able to isolate those big groups of cavalry archers very, very effectively. And now it's looking pretty precarious for Vivi. Maybe some nice mangonel shots could turn it around as the mangonel emerges from his siege workshop. But even though he's on 5 ranges to actually no, they're both on 5 ranges now. They're struggling to maintain the massed up numbers of cavalry archers that he needs to take these big fights now.
So we do see that mangonel in play for Vivi, going to get a couple of shots on these cav archers, working from a little bit of a downhill position, but that is always good to do damage. Unfortunately, that mangonel is probably going to go down to this ram, if not to the cavalry archers first. There it goes. Here comes a second from Vivi, but the problem is Vivi doesn't have a whole lot of cav archers left to continue to fight this battle. So for the moment, it seems like Yinghua has really taken this match back over. Vivi's pressure, as you said, really splitting those armies up a lot and losing a lot of cavalry archers and crossbowmen for good harassment, but in the end, maybe not good enough harassment. And look at these villagers all heading out. They're going to find some cav archers here from Yinghua. Unfortunately, Yinghua has not actually reacted to those, and I wonder if he saw those when they walked by. It looks like Vivi is all in for this castle. What do you think about that, SMB? Pretty gutsy play there.
Gutsy or suicidal, because it's going to be seen inevitably, and although that's a lot of villages, it's not enough to put up a castle in really quick fashion, and all of those are actually going to be caught out now. And I think this is going to be a potential nail in the coffin, because I cannot see this castle potentially going up. But Yinghua isn't actually bringing enough cavalry archers in, and it's starting to get over 4,000. It's creeping over, getting up above 90%. He really needs to try and micro some groups of cavalry archers to individual villages. But it's actually going to go up. I am absolutely astonished that has gone up.
Yes, I totally agree. Yinghua dropped the ball there. He does have rams ready, but I mean, absolutely should have been able to focus down those villagers and stop their build. Wow.
The thing is, what does this castle actually do? It sits in front of his ranges, but it doesn't really hit the gold. And Yinghua has multiple rams out on the field, and it's close to where Yinghua is producing rams from. So I can't see this castle surviving for much longer. And Vivi's actually sacrificed a dozen or so villagers to get that up, and another 4 or so inside the castle will go down.
Vivi
The other issue that whilst all this was going on, Vivi in his own base had about 15 villages idle on gold. His wood line is an absolute mess, and he hasn't secured resources anywhere else. So that castle was like his last desperate move. But even having sacrificed so much to get it up, it doesn't actually do anything, and it's about to go down straight away. So I think that is why he's chosen to call GG. He's absolutely eaten through his main gold in the rest of his base, but has lost the army numbers and doesn't have the map control to secure any of the other golds. So I'd rather see him try and do a gold on that hill in front of his TC with the gold and the stone to try and secure some resources and stay in the game, because the one he didn't really achieve anything apart from waste a whole lot of stuff.
I agree with you. I think if there are American football fans out there, that is the definition of a Hail Mary in AOC, just really trying to you see yourself losing the grip on a game, trying to do something incredibly aggressive and really hoping to get lucky. He needed to get lucky there. It wasn't necessarily a great tactical play, but if he had gotten that up and those villagers had lived, maybe Vivi would feel a breath of new life. But in the end, Yinghua will take game 1. Okay, so let's check out what's going on in the chat. I want to make sure that we're not lagging, that my upload is pretty good. I know what a Hail Mary is, says Smarthy. That is good.
If it was going to be a true Hail Mary, I'd have liked to have seen him literally dump it in the middle of Yinghua's base, because it had about as much chance of winning the game as the one that he did. He may as well have gone all the way, not just put it in the middle of the map, send all 60 villagers and just put it there. It was going to get him killed either way.
As far as I'm seeing in the chat, it looks like I'm not seeing the word lag very much, and I'm not seeing I hate Killer B or die Killer B very often, which is, there's a couple of those in there. But in the end, I think it's pretty good. We're only on 2 or 3 death threats, so this stream is going as well as any stream I've ever done.
Yeah, it seems people are appreciating the vocabulary as well.
I usually make up words. I mean, I'm using real words, but I'm probably not using them properly. So don't try to use them in like a pickup line or anything because it's just not going to work for you. But on that note, I think I'll take 2 or 3 minutes here and give you guys some peace and quiet, and we'll pop into game 2. Let me update the score. That was game 1 for Yinghua. Vivi with a chance with some pressure, but in the end, Yinghua with the win. And yeah, we'll be back in about 3 minutes.